Right, hello everybody, welcome along to this, which is going to be a grain to glass of a beer I've brewed out of this book. I've just dropped my bookmark. And a really good book, which I'll talk about in a minute. We've just pulled a pint of it here, which you may be seeing somewhere up here being pulled. And the beer is called a very good American Pale Ale. So it's an American Pale Ale, and it's basically a generic, I think it's just more or less like a generic grain bill and hops, but it does tell you that stick with the malt base we have here, but have fun with the hops. While the Amarillo Smash on page 77 is a good one for testing out single hop varieties, this Pale Ale is a good recipe for testing combinations of hops to see how they work together. So basically, stick to your malt bill and play about with hops on this. But I've actually done the whole recipe as standard just to see where we are, and if I brew it again I will change up the hops. And I do say I kept it to standard. I just did one hop substitute, which was a Tannum. I swapped it out for Willamette, which is an equivalent hop for a Tannum if you go on hop substitute charts. So I did that, and I think before we talk about it anymore, just while it's just finishing settling, we'll cut to some brewing footage, and then we'll come back to me and we'll talk about this beer. Right, hello everybody. As you can see, we're brewing. Give you a better look. Got my brew on there, and we've mashed in actually with 10 minutes left at mash. So this is a grain to glass, like I've just said in that opening section. And it's a beer we're brewing out of this book, Brew Better Beer. I will talk more about this book when we do a taste test towards the end of this video. Really good book. I've really enjoyed reading it, but I've not brewed out of it yet. This is my first beer out of this book. This is going to go on my hand pull, because unfortunately my bar's empty. I've been a bit lazy, not kept my chain going, and it's caught me out. I've got an empty bar. So this is going to go on bar. It's a Pale Ale we're brewing. I'm going to do another two. I've got a week off. I have 3 more days to work next week, and then I have a week off. So I'm going to am at brewing. I'm going to do another couple of brews for bar, and I'm going to do a couple of Christmas brews, hopefully. I want a stout done, I want some wheat beers done, but we'll talk about all that later. At the minute we're at 65.7 and we're doing a 65.5 mash, so we're near enough. 9 minutes left. I'm just going to weigh my hops out. The hops are Willamette and Simcoe, and it's actually fortunate that the half bags and I'll use them up, so I'm happy about that, because I have a shitload of stuff I need to use up, which I'll show you in another video, everything I've got. I've been fairly busy, so that's the reason I haven't brewed, but I'm going to make time for it now. So we'll come back a little bit later into brew, and I'll show you how to drop some hops in a pot of boiling water. And that's as exciting as it'll get. So we'll come back in a bit, and I'll talk a little bit more about the hops and the hop schedule that we're doing. Right then, as you can see now, if I can get you out steaming up, we're at a boil, and first edition, which is we're now here, 14 grams of Simcoe. Gone in. I'll give them a stir in a minute. And then with 21 grams of Simcoe at 20 minutes to go, and let me have a look, 28 grams of Willamette at flame out. So we'll come back when we've got another hop drop. 20 minutes to go, so .21 grams of Simcoe for flavour, and we'll do Protafloc as well. It's only 5 minutes early. And that's it. One more addition at flame out, and we've done. Very steamy in here, but yeah, it's gone straight forward. We've got a few bits. I'm cubing again, so we've got my cube sanitising. We've got hot water in there for cleaning that were left over from sparging, which I shall drop into my hopcat and flush it all through and rump pump for 5 minutes with that water. So with one more hop addition, I've just been, oh, you can see from here, I've just been cleaning all my bits, so we're not doing too bad. Now we'll explain everything, like I said, when we do taste. I don't think I mentioned I'm using Willamette, but that's a substitute. It should be a different hop. It should, I can't remember, a Tannum, I think. Anyway, like I said, we'll talk through all that when we do the taste test at the end of this video. So 19 minutes to go, and then we'll start wrapping things up. So I'll see you in a bit. Well, that's it, fellas. You can hear that. With that's it. 60 minutes is done. Chuck us last edition in. No cooling down, no nothing. It's just straight in at 60. So we'll give that 15-20 minutes, and then we'll get it in cube. Done. Right, hello, welcome back. So you've just seen that bit of brewing footage that we had there. So now we'll get more into beer. And that's the beer that you saw me pulling in a little box somewhere, I think. So it's an American Pale Ale, and it's out of the Brew Better beer book by Emma Christensen. And incidentally, that's the first book that I own, or the only book that I own, that's actually wrote by a lady. And there is a picture of her. There she is. And she's got some quite good credentials. She was the recipe editor for a popular housekeeping website, The Kitchen, and a graduate of Cambridge School for Culinary Arts in Massachusetts. A former beer reviewer for Columbus Dispatch, she's a dedicated homebrewer, always eager for the chance to nerd out about fermentation. So, yeah, and it is quite a good book. This is the first beer that I've brewed out of it, and it's quite a good beer. Now it's an American Pale Ale, and I think it's basically a bit of a generic grain bill that you can play about with, because it actually says stick with the malt base we have here, but have fun with the hops. While the Amarillo Smash on page 77 is a good one for testing out single hop varieties, this Pale Ale is a good recipe for testing combinations of hops to see how they work together. So basically you can play about with it, try different varieties of hops. I've done this to recipe by one change. I didn't have any Tannum hops, and I swapped them for Willamette. And it wasn't just a whimsical choice. I went on hop substitute chart and it gave you 3 or 4, and Willamette were one, and I had some. So that's the only swap we've done. So I'll give you a quick rundown at recipe for a 23 litre batch. It's 3.400 kilograms of pale malt, 1.130 grams, or should I say 1 kilo 130 grams of crystal, and that's it, just pale malt and crystal. Simcoe pellets and a Tannum, which I swap for Willamette. So you've got Simcoe for bittering, 14 grams, Simcoe again, 21 grams for flavour, and then you've got your a Tannum, which I swap for Willamette, like I said, 28 grams for aroma. And you was doing, I think it was 65 and 65.5 I did mash for an hour. Add your Simcoe at 60 minutes, and then 20 minutes to go you added your other Simcoe, and then at 60 minutes your Tannum or your Willamette, and that's it. That's your recipe. It took, I was fermenting for roughly 2 weeks, and the only yeast I had was that, which it's not the right yeast really for this style, but it's what I had and it's what we used, and it didn't turn out too bad. So that's the recipe, that's what I used, and that's the beer that we got. Now, it's not got a right lot on the aroma. If anything, it's a little malty rather than floral than hoppy. It has got a little hop aroma, but it's more heading towards your malts. But maybe if I'd kegged it or bottled it and there was some carbonation in there coming up, that might lift and send a little bit more aroma out. Oh, I'm pretty sure it would. So it's a little bit nondescript sort of thing, really. Malty if anything. So we'll dive in. Cheers. First thing I get is a dry bitterness. It's definitely a dryness that coats your tongue. And what did we have at the beginning? We had 14 grams of Simcoe, and I'm surprised they've given that level of bitterness. But it's a nice bitterness. It's not, I do like bitterness in a beer. and it was quite a plain grain bill. You'd only got pale malt and crystal malt, so there's not much depth of malt flavour, but there is a malt flavour there. But it's a dryness, that's the overall riding thing I'm getting. You're getting a dry, malty, slightly bready, quite crisp actually, taste, and it's a lingering dryness on your tongue. But it's very easy drinking, very easy drinking. Now we were looking at a target ABV of 5.2. We were looking for 1052 original gravity and a 1012 to finish. And we'll just see what I got, because I keep all my things on me. Now I got 1050 and we were looking for 1052, and I finished at 1012 and we were looking for 1012, and I got 5% as opposed to 5.2, so we're pretty close and I'm happy with that. You can have 2 or 3 and not feel too like you need a nap. Would I brew it again? Yes, I would. And I'd probably play around with hops like it suggests in the book. Would I put it on Hample again? No, I don't think I would. I think I'd try it on keg, see what carbonation does in it. I think it would lead to a better beer in keg or bottle, or that might be my preference. But I don't like to leave my Hample empty. If I've got 2 taps empty and one of them is my Hample, excuse me, I will always put one on my Hample first. But that's just me, my preference. I like lots of styles of beer, but I've only one Hample and I like to always have a beer on that. And slowly I'm learning now what beers work on there for me, for my tastes. I've done a really good Yorkshire bitter. I've done an Alpha Male Pale. That were really good. They were the best 2 so far. All the others were fine, but I don't think I'd brew them again to have back on there. So yeah, an American Pale Ale. Really good. And I bet I'm really into some time now. I'm 10 minutes here, we're out rest of it, so I think we'll leave that one there. I have got another couple of videos in pipeline. One is about my bench seating that I think I've mentioned a few times in the past, and a table I've made and what have you, and I'm flashing red so my battery's going to die out. So I've another couple in pipeline and we'll have to leave it there because we're going to shut off any minute. So thanks for watching and I'll catch you all next time.